Welcome back. We get no rest since after solving our first case, we are immediately needed for the next one. Unfortunately, I decided to drop myself up in the meantime. But hey, maybe we are a better detective this way. Who knows? 2 weeks later, so this is a new case. Must be. Or we played the game for 2 weeks, probably not.
And it says here they still don't know what caused that explosion.
I guarantee you it was sabotage. Those Redites have been causing a lot of trouble lately.
Is that the group of anti-steam tech radicals?
The very same.
Why Redites, though?
They're named after some fellow named Jonathan Red, apparently the one who began the whole anti-steam movement. It's really a rather stupid name, if you ask me. And uncreative, to boot.
Well, what would you call them then?
Oh, I have to choose. Anti-Steam Society, League for Preservation of Blowing Things Up. Boom Boom Boy. Yeah, that's cooler.
Something more evocative, like the Boom Boom Boys.
Definitely gets to the point, I'll give you that. Perhaps you'd best stick with the detecting, dearest. Your nomenclature needs a bit of work.
Ouch.
Well, I think it's about time I get ready for bed.
All right, Miles, if you must.
What does that mean? If you must. Oh, it's my turn. Did she enjoy our chat? Is that what she means? Or I can go outside.
Where are you going? You don't have any...
Oh, I cannot. Well, let's get ready for bed then, because that's what he wants to do.
Who could that be at this time of night?
Good question. But Adelaide can handle it for now. I need to take my medicine.
You certainly have your priorities in order. Go on then. Get that bottle of rat piss out of your nightstand and let's get this over with.
Oh, but I kind of want to see who's there.
Addie can handle whoever...
Oh, that's annoying. So I'm gonna be out of it, and then someone comes up.
Tastes like the devil's sweat.
You could just stop taking it, you know.
Bill, now is not the time to...
Miles, could you come back out here, please?
I knew it.
Be right there, dearest.
It's up to someone. Dearest.
Who was that at the door?
A late-night courier. You've got a message from Upton.
I knew it. I told ya. Fordham, this case makes the last one look simple. Meet me at Ruin ASAP. It's urgent.
It seems this case is rather urgent. She wants me to meet her as soon as possible.
But didn't you just take your soporific? Are you going to be all right to go?
It won't kick in for another hour or so. Should be plenty of time.
All right, I'm going to bed then. Good luck, dear.
Good night, Addie.
This is a recipe for disaster. But it might be kind of cool if I start hallucinating and stuff. Right, document added, but I just read that, so let's go there. It's the only place I can go, so... Exact same people are still here. That's believable.
Hello, Upton.
I'm glad you came, Fordham. Sorry for disturbing you this late.
Sorry for being high. What's urgent? I couldn't wait. Should you be in bed?
Curious to know what's so important that it couldn't wait until morning.
An infant kidnapping in Lyon. The report came in tonight just before my shift ended. The family wants to keep the investigation very low-key. They're afraid if word gets out, they'll have all sorts of ne'er-do-wells making false ransom claims. That's why I suggested they let you investigate first. Head over to 45 Belcourt Street. That's the home of Malcolm and Miriam Harris, the parents of the kidnapped boy.
So I know them?
Harris? As in Harris Construction Company?
The very same. Owned by Malcolm's father, no less. Now you see why they wanted to keep this out of the public eye.
Indeed. If they manage to get a new transatlantic airship off the ground, it'll be an aura mine. I can see why they'd make an easy target.
Don't worry, I'll get the kid back before you can say hot toddy. Okay, I'm on it. I'll try and find him as soon as... Let's say this because I don't know if I will succeed.
Okay, I'm on it. I'll try and find him as soon as I possibly can.
Right. Good luck on your investigation. Come see me again once you've figured things out. Or if you just need to talk. I'll be here all day tomorrow as well. So feel free to stop by.
So you're basically always here in the coffee shop. So we needed to go to the Harris residence, I believe.
Mr. Miles Fordham is here to see you, sir.
Very good, Mr. Havelock. Send him up.
Yes, sir.
The way he speaks. There I am.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Fordham. I'm Malcolm Harris.
I'm terribly sorry to hear about what's happened, Mr. Harris.
Thank you,
Was it
Mr.
again?
Fordham. You were very highly recommended by Miss Upton. She said you'd be able to solve this faster and more discreetly than the police.
I hope so.
I admit it's a rather unorthodox approach, but we're desperate.
I understand. I'll do all I can to find the kidnapper and bring your son back unharmed.
If you'd like to examine the nursery, it's just through that door to the left.
I would.
I'll ask you to please try and keep quiet as I just sent my wife to bed. Her nerves are rather shot, you see.
Yes, of course.
Keep quiet. I'm speaking to myself constantly. Also, I took a break in between, so I don't really know what happened again.
It's nice to see that tea is still served here even in times of tragedy.
Why don't we look at our casebook? It will remind me. The Purloined progeny. Charles Harris, infant son of the heir to Harris Construction Company, has been kidnapped. Who did it and where did they take the child? Alright. So that's all I needed to know, apparently. Should we speak to him?
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
No doubt you do, but I'm really not in the mood to talk right now.
Oh, alright.
It's been a difficult evening, and I'm not certain I have it in me to answer your questions at the moment.
Well, do you want
Fair
to
enough.
find your son or
But I
not?
will need to ask you about the incident at some point.
Yes, that's fine. Just not now.
Alrighty, we'll look around. Fine by me. Vase?
I wouldn't get too close, Miles. That vase is probably worth more than your entire building. She looks like she's up to something.
How can you tell?
The Harris family certainly has a nice view from which to look down upon the world.
Down upon the world.
I wonder if they use the balcony to give speeches to the gardeners.
Sounds jealous to me.
I know the hand and waistcoat pose is supposed to look stately, but to me it always looks like the person is scratching themselves.
Oh, now that you mention that, I can't unsee that anymore. So I can go to the bedroom, but she's there. What's
I'm
this?
sure the only location the Harrises care about is wherever they are at any given moment.
Alright, let's just go to the child's room, because that's probably where the most clues are. I hope. See? Broken window.
Be careful not to cut yourself, Miles. I don't think the Harris family has ever seen blood that isn't blue.
He's very mean to them.
Look, you can see the balcony extends all the way around the side of the manor.
Alright.
That would make it rather easy for someone to access this window from the outside.
It would.
No evidence of what was used to smash the glass, though. It looks rather flimsy. Let's not try sitting on it.
What's this?
Interesting.
Fabric.
This fabric looks as though it came from a garment of some kind.
Wouldn't you need to take that and investigate it? Oh, I can do something.
Huh. There's a small emblem sewn onto the side of this piece of fabric. It just says SS.
Somebody's initials, maybe?
Strange.
Probably won't be another year or so before the child gets any practical use out of those blocks beyond putting them in his mouth.
Alright, so I think that's it. I want to make sure I don't miss anything because I sometimes do. And then I get stuck.
Oh dear.
What? Oops. Oh, that's right, I was rubbed up.
Ah, wonderful. The soporific has started working. Well done, Fordham. Now how are you supposed to... What's the word I'm looking for? Instigate? Interrogate? I just had it on the tip of my tongue.
Perhaps it's time to call it a night.
Is it? I want to look around. This is kind of cool. But what will happen if I don't?
That's interesting. But sleep is more interesting.
Really? So I can't do anything? No.
I don't...
No, I have to go apparently. That's annoying. Should I tell him?
No talking.
So I guess
Well,
we'll just leave.
Mr. Harris, I believe I've done all I can for right now.
Did you find anything?
Yes, I believe I have some leads I can pursue.
Don't lie.
But the most important thing to do in cases like this is wait to hear from the kidnappers. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue my investigation and ask you and your wife some questions once you've had time to calm down a bit. In the meantime, I suggest you stay here and get some sleep. We'll all need it.
Yeah, definitely you. It's too bad that I have to go home. I was hoping something cool would happen.
Miles, wake up. It's nearly noon.
Ah,
Whoops.
so it is.
Why didn't you come to bed when you got home last night?
It was late. I didn't want to disturb you.
So what was so urgent about the case Upton sent you?
I'm trying to track a kidnapped child.
Oh my goodness. That's awful.
Yes, the pressure's on, but I think I should be able to crack it.
Assuming you actually managed to get anything done at the Harris Manor today.
Why not?
Well, let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Also, we've got company. Mrs. Delacroix is having her hair done here today, so please make yourself presentable.
I don't know if I
You
can.
mean I'm not already?
See?
At least do something about your hair. I do have a reputation to maintain after all.
Well, I do not.
What's wrong with my hair?
Do you really want me to answer that? We'll be here all day.
Yes, he's right about that. So, do I have to do that? I had a hand. What is this leaving? Can I maybe
But
change my
wouldn't you
clothes?
say it's time for a change of clothes, Miles? You...
So? Addie gave it to me.
Right. Brooding detective in a long black coat. That's never...
What are you talking about?
Never mind.
Alright, so no. Am I not gonna fix my
It's
hair?
admirable just how
I guess not. I guess he just thinks he looks alright. Something. Let's go here.
And then he said, "Oh, hello there. I don't believe we've met."
Mrs. Delacroix, this is my husband, Miles. Miles, this is Mrs. Delacroix.
Pleasure to meet you, madam.
Likewise, young man. Pleasure.
Sounds like a lie to me.
Is everything all right, Mrs. Delacroix?
Oh, yes, everything's fine. It's just that, well, you weren't what I was expecting, is all.
Keep your head, Miles. She may be a close-minded idiot, but she's just an old lady.
You mean the portrait over the fireplace didn't clue you in? What were you expecting? Let's see this.
What were you expecting exactly?
Well...
Now then, Mrs. Delacroix, what was it that you were telling me about Mr. Delacroix and his dogs?
Oh, yes. So, Harold came in and said,
Sounds boring.
Impressive. She got off pretty easy. I was expecting a repeat of the Parsons incident. You should give Adelaide a kiss on the way out, though, just to make the old bat feel extra uncomfortable.
Alright, I don't understand. Was she being racist or something? Or did I really need to do my hair? I didn't know. Do we have something new in here? We do. Dupre Scandal Shocks Gascon Society. Let's read this because this is about the previous case. Madame Lara Dupre or Dupre, I don't remember how to say it. The Gascon Grand Dame, reported to have died 2 weeks ago, is in fact alive. Details emerged after a police investigation that Dupre was made to appear dead and almost buried alive. In a shocking turn of events, it was discovered that Madame Dupre had been torturing her servants, even going so far as to keep one locked in a hidden room. Well, more than one. The servant unfortunately died. Dupree was arrested for manslaughter and will stand trial in the coming months. The suspected assailant, Albert Martin, was released with a full pardon. Public opinion has quickly turned against Dupree, with many claiming that she got what she deserved. A signed confession was given by a Guy Dumas, but police have been unable to locate him, so he did flee. So what else? Re-election? Explosion? Maybe. The explosion. Oh right, because the brewery. Isn't that the daddy's kid? Did he not have a brewery? Explosion at the Haskins Brewery last Thursday has been determined a case of sabotage, according to the New Britain police. Originally thought to have been caused by faulty machinery, the investigation turned up the remnants of a crude explosive device hidden inside one of the tanks. The explosion did not kill anyone, but caused several employees to be injured and the brewery to be shut down for several days. When asked to comment, Chief of Police Reginald Snelling declined naming any suspects in the bombing, but did not rule out the possibility of the Redites being involved. We have some information at present, but not enough to make any official determinations. Rest assured, those responsible will be brought to justice, said Snelling. Haskins Brewery is best known for producing Bollingworth Ale. Let's read this really quickly. Prime Minister Edward wants to be re-elected. He's begun his campaign. Technological advances. Right, so this is connected to this, because this is just an explosion of a machinery which they are apparently using, and those Redites are against the machines, so they want to blow them up, and he wants even more. So probably those Redites are also against this Prime Minister. Yeah, we'll increase unemployment of the bridge. Alright. And this airship. After the disaster, They're building another ship. Harris, Clyde Harris. Wait, wasn't that his name? Clyde Harris, owner of Harris Construction. I don't remember. While the disaster was a most unfortunate accident, it should not be taken as any indication that steam technology is in any way dangerous. Fact remains that airships are among the safest means of transportation. To halt the construction of the Lenore would symbolize the setback not only to cultural prosperity but to New Britannia's financial prosperity as well. Long criticized for his apparent ... Was it Harris, the name? Yes, Harris. So, Harris Construction Company. So they are making those blimps. Oh, interesting. Piece of torn fabric seemingly from a garment. It has its M sewn on it with the initials SS. Do I need to ask Upton about that?
She can get as painted up and coiffed as she likes. It's not gonna fix the ugliness inside.
True that. I can speak to her.
Addie?
Not right now, Miles. I'm busy. We can talk once I finish with Mrs. Delacroix.
Just want to give you a kiss. That's all. Oh, we'll leave then. Bye-bye. Oh, kiss goodbye, yes.
Goodbye, dearest.
I look forward to your return, my love.
Do you really? She keeps saying that. Why not speak to Upton first? Is that her name? I think so. About that thing we found. The patch.
Can we talk?
Not right now, Fordham. Time is of the essence.
Oh,
Come back and see me when you've made some progress on this thing. Your head start on the police will only last so long.
oh, alright. And I already kind of fell asleep, so wasn't using my time well. Alright, let's go there
Remind
then.
me, Miles, how is finding some rich people's kidnapped baby going to help us track down the flower shop burglar?
Oh, I don't know that. This isn't about the burglar, it's about helping people. We might find a lead to him during this investigation. Yeah, I think so, that might happen.
It's possible we might find a lead to the burglar during the course of this investigation.
Really, Miles? You really believe that?
I do.
Anything's possible, Bill. You remember how many times we encountered seemingly trivial matters which turned out to be important later on?
Well, if you plan on solving this case, you'll need your full wits about you.
I feel fine. What are you nagging me about now?
Again, with the nagging. What is it this time?
You need to stop taking the soporific, Miles.
Yada yada
Adelaide
yada.
has been trying to get you to stop for months, and Upton already suspects something is amiss.
So stop talking
Not
to
to
me.
mention your little episode last night. Trust me, no one is going to want to hire the dullard detective.
Clever. Did you come up with that one all by yourself?
What are you going to do when the cases stop coming in? How long before you get put away in Riverview?
If I do get locked away, it'll be your fault.
True that.
Which is exactly why you need to get back to your normal routine so you can find the burglar.
Fine, I'll stop. It's the only thing I can say. We've given me a good night, but it doesn't mean we'll find the burglar tomorrow, but it only means I'll wake up earlier. This?
All right, fine. I'll stop. But if you keep me awake at night, so help me.
Don't worry, I'm sure you'll find a way to cope. You were always good at that.
So is he schizophrenic
Well,
or
I'm
something?
glad that's settled then. I knew you'd see things my way eventually.
It's not as though you gave me much of a
That's
choice.
what I wanted to say.
In time, you'll thank me. Probably not before the withdrawal hits, though.
Oh, right.
Don't make me change my mind on this, Bill.
Am I gonna get sick and stuff? Here we are, again.
Mr. Fordham, you're back. Allow me to introduce my wife, Miriam.
Hello.
A pleasure, Mrs. Harris. I wish we could have met under better circumstances, but I assure you I'm doing all I can to find your son.
Are you really?
Thank you, Mr. Fordham.
Mr. Harris, has there been any communication from the kidnapper?
None at all.
Well, I'll have another look around if you don't mind.
That is weird though. If they wanted money, they would have let that know, wouldn't they? I mean, on TV, at least. Can I speak
I
to
have some
them?
questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
Oh, so now you do. Alright. Let's start at the top.
Tell me everything you can about the kidnapping.
I don't know much. I was out last night while it happened.
Where had you been previously?
I was out with friends. My wife can verify the time I arrived home.
Wait a minute. I know this attitude all too well. This man is hiding something. Most likely from his wife.
Yeah, we gave
I
that
doubt
away.
his voice is from beyond the grave, so the question is, what's his secret?
Could be another woman.
I found this bit of torn fabric by the broken window. Do you know anything about it?
Looks like it came from a piece of clothing. Possibly a jacket.
Gee, thanks.
Did the initials SS mean anything to you?
Maybe? I can't really say.
Liar.
You'll have to excuse me, Mr. Fordham. I've got quite a lot on my mind right now. If
So
I can think of
does.
anything, I'll be sure to let you know.
Is it your mistress, maybe?
Tell me about your son.
Charles is a good boy. Very quiet. Miriam had wanted a child almost from the moment we married. You know how women are when they have their hearts set on something. I saw no need to rush, but
Nice to know you're not the only one. Hey, Miles.
the first 2 times Miriam was with child, she suffered some unfortunate accidents. She was devastated, as you can imagine. So when Charles finally came along, he turned out to be quite a blessing. I can't imagine what sort of depraved madman would take him from us like this. You must find him, Mr. Fordham.
I intend to, Mr. Harris.
Sounds suspicious to me.
Tell me about yourself.
There isn't much to tell, really. My life has been fairly well publicized in the newspapers.
Let's pretend for a moment that I skip over the society pages.
Well, I'm an investor. My father Clyde runs Harris Construction Company, which I will someday inherit.
Oh.
Any other details about me are fairly trivial nonsense, I think.
Those are all the questions I had for now.
All right.
What about what you're doing at night? That is kind of important. But you won't tell me, will ya? What about you?
I have some questions for you if you're up to answering them, Mrs. Harris.
I'll try my best, Mr. Fordham.
You do that.
Tell me what you know about your son's kidnapping.
Oh, my poor baby.
So nothing?
Mrs. Harris, I know this is difficult, but I need as much information as you can give me so I can bring your son back.
Yes, you're right. I have to stay strong. For Charles. It happened sometime between 6 and 8 last night. I think. Both my husband and I had gone out. Charles was in the care of his nanny, Mrs. Davis.
And where is she
I
now?
arrived home first, around 8:30, and that's when I found this scene in the nursery, as it was.
And what was it you found?
Mrs. Davis, unconscious in her chair, the broken window, and Charles missing from his crib. Malcolm arrived home shortly afterwards, around 9, and then immediately sent our butler, Mr. Havelock, to notify the police. We stayed up waiting for any contact from the kidnappers, but there was nothing.
Your husband mentioned he was out with friends last night. Where were you?
Oh, I was visiting with some of my friends. We gathered at one of their homes for a concert.
Another liar.
It seems hiding something from your spouse is an activity both Harrises partake in.
That they do, and they are also hiding it from us.
What can you tell me about Mrs. Davis?
Well, she's worked for us since Charles was born, a little over 6 months ago.
How did you come to employ her?
Malcolm's mother had a friend whose daughter she used to care for. She came highly recommended. We've never had any problems with her. She's always been a dream.
Where is she now?
In her room, I would guess. With Charles missing, there's little for her to do.
Where might I find her room?
There's a small building just around the back of the manor. Hers is the 4th door from the left.
She kind of feel that the only thing she was supposed to do, keep the baby safe.
Can you think of any reason why your son would be a target for kidnapping?
It could be that someone wants our money, or some lunatic who's angry about the new airship.
Or both.
My husband's an investor, and my father-in-law owns the company building it, you see. I just don't know, Mr. Fordham. Frankly, the fact that something like this could even happen is just terrifying.
That it is.
I found this bit of torn fabric by the broken window. Do you know anything about it?
No, I've never seen it before. Do you think it was left by the kidnapper?
Perhaps.
be.
Did the initials SS mean anything to you?
No, I can't think of anyone or anything I know with those initials.
At least she's honest, but your husband knows.
Tell me about your son.
Charles is our only child. He's such a good boy. Never makes a fuss. Always very sweet. Oh, Charles, you must be so frightened out there without your mother. Oh, please, Mr. Fordham. You have to bring him home.
I'm trying.
I'll do my best.
What about her?
Tell me a bit about yourself, Mrs. Harris.
Mr. Fordham, my son has been kidnapped and is out there alone, terrified and confused.
Might be
What
important.
could I possibly tell you that would make any difference to you finding him?
I suppose you're right, Mrs. Harris. My apologies if I upset you. That's all for now, Mrs. Harris.
Weird.
Very well.
Why won't they tell about themselves? That's weird. So I can go into her room, but I want to check this out a bit more because I didn't last time.
Miles, didn't you notice something a bit strange about the
A
Harrises?
bit.
Quite a few things, actually. What are you referring to?
Their son was just kidnapped, yet they're each on their own side of the sitting room.
That's true.
Not comforting each other, not crying together. Nothing.
They're stuck-up rich people. Not exactly the type to show emotion.
Miles, you know I'm the most cynical person there is when it comes to their type. But this isn't normal
Even for
behavior.
snobs.
Even for snobs. This goes deeper than saving face. There's something going on
Yeah,
between
I
them.
agree.
I think you should find out what.
Maybe they have a marriage of convenience or
Look
something.
at that. The kid has a toy chest. My sister and I used to have to keep our toys buried in the backyard. Of course, that is because the only toys we had were dead rats.
Well, thanks for that information.
Bear's picnic. Something about a group of giant human-like bears eating together in the woods.
It's just spitting out nonsense, so
A
I'm gonna skip
steam-powered
it over
bottle
a
warmer.
bit.
Certainly beats having to do it in the fireplace.
Because it's
Or in the
not
case of my
really-
parents, over a barrel fire.
What are you doing?
Some sort of fuzzy animal wearing a waistcoat.
Look at this. A button.
That's odd. Why is there a loose button in the crib? Now, I'm no expert on children, but it seems like it would be dangerous to have around an infant.
Yeah. Take
Ah,
it.
if only the flower shop burglar was as easy to find as this clue was.
Why do you have to comment on everything I do?
Yeah, the kidnapper left the child's blanket behind. There doesn't appear to be any trace of the silver spoon, though.
What's this?
Nice mobile. Custom made, too. There'll be no mistaking what family this child comes from.
And that's it, I think. Yep. Let me see. Okay, look at
Nice
this
view of the
window.
garden from...
No, okay, look at this again. But yeah, I already did this, so don't really know if it matters.
Look.
That would make it rather easy.
No, it looks rather...
But he says best not try sitting on it. But didn't she say that nanny sat on the chair or fell asleep on it? So that is weird. Is she lying about that? Was there no nanny at all? Alright, so I think we did see everything here, basically. So let's go to this room. What's this?
Fancy. Some poor servant's probably gonna get a flogging for leaving it in here, though.
Really? Is this what they mean with the machinery? Vacuum cleaner.
Who in their right mind would need that many drawers?
Are you jealous? I can look at it.
Let's see what we have here. A very poorly written letter addressed to Mr. Harris.
I don't suppose it's a letter of admiration.
On the contrary, the author seems quite upset.
Mr. Harris, this is your weekly reminder of how much I hate you. Because my wife is dead. My wife was a wonderful woman and you have taken her from me. I hope you suffer as much as I have. Arthur Devins.
Nothing else of note in any of the drawers.
Too bad.
Oh, well, at least we got to play a rousing game of Search the Rich People's Dresser. Wardrobes are usually always full of wonderfully dark secrets.
That's exaggerating.
It looks like a pile of women's clothes. Must belong to Mrs. Harris.
Or not.
Ooh, another four-poster. The Harris family certainly makes no secret of their wealth.
What can I do with this?
There's a
Wear them?
handwritten note among the clothes.
Oh. Miriam, baby, I have to see you tonight. It's been far too long. See, they are having affairs. I knew it.
Nothing else.
So first I need to look at it and then I can do something with it.
Mr. Harris's color selection is almost as drab as yours.
Let's see if there's anything of interest in any of the pockets.
Please do.
So, Mr. Harris is a fan of the ponies, is he? I'm sure that's not causing him any trouble at all.
Yeah, betting. Alright.
One thing is for certain. Mr. Harris uses entirely too much starch on his shirts.
What's this?
An empty suitcase. I suppose Mr. Harris must travel every now and then. One thing is for certain. Yeah, it seems like this is where Mrs. Harris keeps her unmentionables. I like the ones with the frills and the stitched cat.
Unmentionables.
Paperwork and receipts. Nothing particularly interesting here.
Oh. What's this?
More lacy underthings. I wonder which Harris they belong to.
Alright, so that's it. Yep. Alright, so checked out the dresser. I did. The wardrobe. Painting.
Painting of the city. Probably the only time that...
Not that interesting. Did this, did this. Alright, so why don't we look at what we have collected so far? So the letter from R to Devon, so we need to know about him. And someone named R. Stopped from the local horse racing track with yesterday's date on them. Do I need to code that maybe? Single loose button found in the baby's crib and the fabric. Oh, that's it. Speak with Mrs. Davis, the Harris's nanny. Oh right, I need to do that too.
The Harris family certainly. I wonder if they used.
I can't go out there. I would like to because the balcony is going all the way up to that room. The nursery, bedroom, that's it. Let's see if we can find the nurse. Oh, she's here. She's way older than I thought she would be.
Come in.
Good day to you, ma'am. I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator. I'm looking into the kidnapping of Charles Harris. Are you Mrs. Davis?
I am. Oh, bless the spirits. They've sent someone to help at last.
Look around or speak to her. What to do?
Seems like that boiler's the only thing in here that's less than 10 years old. My mother had a pewter teapot as well. Another Harris hand-me-down, no doubt.
They would have washed it first. Let's just speak to her.
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Alright.
Tell me about the kidnapping of Charles Harris.
Oh, dear. May the spirits forgive me. I feel so awful. Charlie was my responsibility, and I failed.
Mrs. Davis, that is beside the point. What's important now is finding him and bringing him home.
I agree.
To do that, I need your full cooperation.
Oh, you're right, Mr. Fordham. I'm sorry. I just need to collect my thoughts, get the negative vibrations out of my mind. Now, what specifically would you like to know?
She's kind of weird, isn't she?
What time did the kidnapping occur?
I'm not entirely sure.
Were you sleeping?
I know I was in the nursery having a cup of tea about 8:30. I remember feeling very drowsy. I must have passed out then because the next thing I knew, I was being woken by Mrs. Harris.
So you were drugged.
To think, whoever took Charlie did it while I was in the room. Oh, may the spirits grant me peace.
Do you happen to take any sort of sleep medications or soporifics?
Oh, dear me, no. Those types of drugs cloud the mind and make it impossible to tune into the ether.
You say that as though it were a bad thing.
I beg your pardon?
Apologies, I spoke out of turn.
Yeah, you did. So basically you were snoring away while the child was taken.
Can you think of anyone who would have wanted to take the child?
Well, I'm not one to gossip, but I am quite sensitive to the energy and vibrations that people give off. I get the impression that Mr. and Mrs. Harris aren't very happy in their marriage.
Ah, come on. Anyone could have picked up on that.
That's what I wanted to
Anyone
say.
except you, that is.
Was
Mr.
kind of
Harris
obvious.
likes to stay out late and not take his wife with him. I can't remember the last time they went out together. I don't know what he gets up to, but it's possible he may have made some enemies.
Or she. Because we know she has an affair for sure.
Can you think of any reason why someone would want to kidnap Charles?
It might have been for money, but last I heard, there was no demand for a ransom.
That's true.
I honestly don't know why this happened, Mr. Fordham. I just hope you find the poor child. He must be scared to death.
Yeah, everybody hopes that.
I found this piece of torn fabric in the nursery. Does it look familiar to you?
No, it doesn't. I'm sorry.
I found this button in the baby's crib. Do you recognize it?
Why, yes. That's one of Barney's eyes.
Barney.
Charlie's stuffed bear. It's his favorite toy, a gift from my friend Linda.
I didn't find a stuffed bear in the nursery.
Then whoever took the baby must have taken Barney as well. Oh, at least the poor thing has something to comfort him. Bless the spirits.
She's kind of exaggerating the way she speaks and does. It's kind of weird to me.
Who is Linda?
Mrs. Linda Walker. She's a good friend of mine. As I said, she gave me Barney as a gift for Charlie.
Can you tell me anything else about her?
Oh, she's a lovely girl, very much in tune with her spiritual nature. I greatly enjoy my conversations with her.
When was the last time you saw her?
Oh, I don't remember.
Interesting.
No, wait. It was at the last Spectre Society meeting on the 19th. That's right.
Tell me more.
What is the Spectre Society?
It's a club for spiritualists and amateur investigators of the paranormal. We meet twice a month to socialize and discuss our findings.
I see. Sounds fascinating.
You don't mean that.
Though I don't expect you to share my beliefs, Mr. Fordham.
Oh, I have a bit more experience than you'd think with regards to the spirit world.
You can say that again.
Where exactly do these meetings take place?
At a private residence in Gascon.
May I have the address?
Why, yes, it's 325 Rue Jameau. Are you going to seek spiritual guidance to find Charlie?
Not what I was
Perhaps.
thinking.
You never know what might be worth looking into.
I'd rather find a suspect over there, probably.
Do you have Linda Walker's address?
No, I don't. I never visited her home. I get the feeling she doesn't like having visitors or being home very much. She prefers to meet people elsewhere.
That's weird.
I was the same way after my husband died. It was embarrassing for my friends to see me living so differently. But I feel it's not just a matter of pride for dear Linda. I think there are lots of bad memories associated with where she lives. I try to stay away from places like that. They leave a mark on the soul, you know.
Alright, I don't really want to know about her, but it might be important, but she's speaking so slowly.
How long have you worked as a nanny?
Only a few years. I never had to work when I was married. My husband had a lot of money.
Yeah, I can tell.
Unfortunately, he was in great debt. And after the spirits took him back to the ether, I wasn't left with much. So I began working as a nanny to make ends meet. But I consider taking care of children a reward in its own right.
Unless you lose them.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Alright, lads, that's over. Let's
That
take a look at
chest
this.
is full of undressed dolls.
Old bed.
What the hell is wrong with this old bat?
I agree, she's very weird.
It's a spirit reaching out to a very frightened man. Possibly the fakest looking photo I've ever seen. Painting of a tower on a Scottish moor. Painting of a misty forest with a... This looks like a mourning portrait of a young... Her Majesty Queen Jessica. Pretty distinguished looking gentleman. These are all books on spiritualism and the occult. The Harris family doesn't seem to hold the comfort. I think a bed of nails would be in a boy taking a nap under a tree.
Right, none of it is very interesting. Because I checked this out. Alright, so that's everything this nanny knows.
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirits guide your path.
Thanks so much. I have one spirit with me, so he's not really guiding me though. He's more being annoying. So I can go to the society. Let me see. Learn about Linda at the society. So I guess that is what I have to do, and I find out who or what SS is. But that Harris man knows, and he doesn't want to tell me. Oh, her testimony. Says she was drinking tea in the living room around 8:30, then passed out and was awoken 2 hours later by Mrs. Harris. Heard the sound of smashing glass. And what about these betting stops? Do I not need to go to the track or something?
Too dark to tell what's inside. They must enjoy the somber atmosphere.
Same. Let's see if I can get in.
Yes? May I help you?
Let me see, I want to ask you a few questions. I'm interested in joining. What about
This
this?
is the Spectre Society, right? I'm interested in joining.
Ah, yes it is. Welcome, darling. Our membership process is a bit different to most social clubs. We require a sponsor.
Sounds simple enough.
Well, you see, we ask that sponsors be people who have passed on into the spirit world.
I have one.
Once you name your sponsor, I will attempt communication beyond the ether. When they answer, you will be judged and considered for membership.
I've got a sponsor.
I've got a sponsor.
Excellent. What is the name of your sponsor, darling?
I don't really know what he's called. Bill.
Bill Legere is my sponsor.
Seriously, Fordham? I thought you knew better than that.
Bill Legere. Very well, I will attempt to communicate with him.
You do that. Hope he's as annoying with you
She
as
can do this
me.
all day. It's not gonna work.
I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble communicating. Perhaps you can come back and try again later?
See?
Oh.
Told you.
Why
Yeah,
not?
thanks a lot.
So now what? Do I need to do something else? Let's try again.
Oh,
A new
I'd like to name-
sponsor?
yes,
Make up a name.
I'd like my spot, Simon.
very good.
Let's see if this happens. Works.
I'm sorry.
No. So I need to find a sponsor. Or just say I'm a detective. I don't know if that works though. Should we? Let's save first. Save. And let's try that. See what happens. She opens up again.
Oh,
What about this?
Hello, ma'am. My name's Miles.
are you with the police?
No, I'm a private investigator.
I'm terribly sorry, darling, but I simply don't have the time right now. Perhaps if you come back next week, I'll be able to answer your questions then.
Perhaps. Alright,
Whoops.
never mind.
Well, then I...
So I need to find a sponsor. But I don't know how to do that. Maybe she knows someone who isn't alive anymore. Don't know. Can I speak to her? Yes, I can
we talk?
Go on.
What's other case?
What's the other case you mentioned? The one you said was a higher priority.
Well, it seems we might have a mass murderer on our hands.
Interesting, give
You
me
don't
that
say.
one.
That's right. I didn't say because I shouldn't say.
It's way
But so
cooler.
far, we've had 3 murders with a very similar MO in the past 2 months. Snelling is trying his hardest to keep it under wraps since the newspapers already caught wind of the first 2.
They did.
I don't envy the department there. I'm happy to stick with the missing persons and domestic disputes.
Review case?
Can we go over my current case?
Of course. What have you got?
Let's say everything. Oh, no, let's start with this.
Have you ever heard of the Spectre Society?
I think so. They're some sort of ghost hunting club, aren't they?
A spiritualist group, yes.
Don't tell me this case has taken a turn for the supernatural.
It might.
Not exactly. It's just come up as a potential lead. I'm having some trouble getting in, though. They want me to name a sponsor who's dead.
Just when I thought I'd heard everything. Well, bluffing with some random name probably won't get you very far.
No, try that.
You're right. It would make more sense to try finding a name that would mean something to them.
That would mean something to them. Maybe I need to ask that nanny.
I found this torn piece of fabric at the crime scene. It's got an emblem with some initials on it.
I recognize that emblem. It's from Solomon Stitching, a little tailor shop in Lyon. My ex-husband had several jackets from there.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry to dredge up old memories, but do you remember where they're located?
I believe it's on the corner of Bonneville Street and Surratt Avenue.
Fantastic. You're helpful as always, Upton.
There you are. Because he apparently doesn't know anything in the city and she knows everything.
I found this button at the crime scene. The child's nanny identified it as the eye of his stuffed bear.
Did you find the bear at the scene?
Nope.
No, the kidnapper must have taken it as well.
Interesting.
Either the kidnapper is very compassionate, or it's someone who knew the child.
That is true.
I spoke with Henrietta Davis, the Harris family nanny.
A sensible place to start. What did she have to say?
She claims to have been unconscious when the kidnapping took place.
She must be an extremely heavy sleeper.
I don't believe so. The way she described it made it sound like she was drugged.
Interesting. Definitely worth looking into, I'd say.
That's enough about the case for now.
Okay.
Alright, bye.
That's it, I think.
Then you'd better.
So she did help me a bit. She gave me a new location. And... well, that's about it. She did tell me that I need to find a name for that society.
Good day to you, sir. Welcome to Solomon Stitching. I'm Jonah Solomon. Please let me know if I can help you with anything.
You sure can. Can I look around?
Quite the selection, but I doubt the typical clientele of this place buys off the rack.
Yeah, it seems fancy.
My grandmother had one like that. I think it was meant to be relaxing, but it always felt like my time was running out. Now that it has, well, it actually is relaxing. Go figure. That cloth will be a garment soon. Or maybe I'm completely wrong, and it's a treasure map.
Would be cooler, but probably not. Let's see if he can help us.
Mr. Solomon?
Yes, sir. How may I be of service? Oh, let me guess. You're looking to replace that old coat. It looks like it's got quite a few stories it could tell me.
Don't insult me.
You should listen to the man, Miles. He clearly knows what he's talking about.
Not today, I'm afraid. There's still a few more stories it has left to tell.
Does it though?
Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions.
Questions? Very well, but if they aren't about tailoring, I don't know how much help I'll be.
They are this.
I found this piece of torn fabric with your emblem on it. Can you tell me anything about it?
Yes. Brown, wool, houndstooth. This is from one of the more popular jackets I sell.
And here I thought my ability to name ales within 5 seconds of tasting them was good. This fella has me beat.
Do you have any of them in stock currently?
Well, sure, I've got one on the display dummy over there.
Is there any way you can tell me who you've sold them to?
Probably not.
I don't think so. I've sold at least 20 in the past month. As I said, it's a very popular style.
Would have been too easy otherwise.
This is a nice shop you have. I never even knew it existed.
Well, better late than never, I always say. Life has a funny way of always taking us where we need to go in the end.
True. Although I think it's easy to miss out on things from time to time.
Oh, of course. It's easy to overlook the details, but in the grand scheme of things, you'll end up where you need to be. And in this case, you ended up here. So, please, feel free to take a look around. Let me know if you find anything you like.
Do I have money? I don't think I do.
Is there anything you can tell me about this button?
Looks like it's made of wood, not very well crafted either. Definitely not from one of my products.
No, it's from a bear. Do you want to know about him?
How did you get into this business, Mr. Solomon?
I was always good with a needle and thread. When I was a boy in Poland, I would help my mother with her sewing. Then, during the war with Russia, I fixed uniforms and stitched up wounds. Not long after that, I moved to Vespuccia, settled here in New Britannia. My first shop was in the Chum, but thankfully, I was very successful and was able to move to Lyon. I won't lie to you, this location is much, much nicer. It's refreshing to not have to step over drunken hobos when I open and close the shop.
Oh, but that's part of the charm of owning a business in the Chum.
Not much else to say beyond that. My business is my life.
You seem very dedicated to your craft.
That's right. You won't see any of that newfangled steam-powered nonsense in here. Everything is done by hand and with care. I use only the finest quality materials and stitch every thread myself. And that's the way it's gonna stay as long as I'm around. It's worked for 45 years. There's no reason to change as far as I'm concerned.
I'll be taking my leave of you now, Mr. Solomon.
Very good.
That was a long story. Alright, but since I can ask him about himself, does that make him suspicious in any way? I don't know.
Impressive collection of... I wish I'd known about this guy when I was alive. I'd have asked him to make me a suit for my funeral.
Too late for that now.
Judging from the position and the lock, this is likely where Mr. Solomon keeps his money.
Or secrets. Which
Come to think of it,
jacket?
I have seen plenty of people wearing that... That coat is so...
So it's this one, but I can't look at
This
it.
guy has been in business. Isaac Samuels, the Prime Minister. I sure hope I get to meet...
Alright. That's it. So that's all I came for. It didn't really help me that much. A little. Well, not really. Because now I know that it's a popular jacket. So it doesn't help me at all. Let me see. I have to investigate him. That's weird. Thank you for watching. Curious what happens next? Subscribe to my page so you don't miss anything.